الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، يا من نعاه جبرائيل بين السماء والأرض، تهدمت والله أركان الهدى، وانطمست العروة الوثقى. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: أجعلتم سقاية الحاج وعمارة المسجد الحرام كمن آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وجاهد في سبيل الله لا يستوون عند الله. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
There is no doubt that amongst the companions of Rasulullah, the favorite to Rasulullah and the most noble and the most honorable was Amir al-Mu'mineen. There is no doubt in that. And this is something that is agreed upon even amongst the Sunni scholars. Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he was asked, who is the best and the most noble of the Sahaba? So he said the first is Abu Bakr, and the second is Umar, and the third is Uthman. And then they tell him, what about Ali ibn Abi Talib? Why did you not mention Ali ibn Abi Talib? He tells them, Ali ibn Abi Talib is the nafs of Rasulullah. I don't need to mention him as someone who was different from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. And then he recites this verse: فَمَنْ حَاجَّكَ فِيهِ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جَاءَكَ مِنَ الْعِلْمِ فَقُلْ تَعَالَوْا نَدْعُ أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ. The event of Mubahala that we discussed. Amir al-Mu'mineen was the best and the foremost, the first who sacrificed, the first who believed, the first who gave, the first who did jihad in the way of Rasulullah. You see that he performed jihad, and all of his sons, they performed jihad in the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. The sons of Amir al-Mu'mineen, he and his family, a family of jihad, a family of giving, a family that gave in the way of Allah, in the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Now, you see some people, they come and they say, why do you Shi'as differentiate between the Sahaba? Look at them all the same. Respect all of them. Let them all be the same in your eyes. The answer is, we are not the ones who differentiate. We are not the ones who prioritize. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who prioritized Ali ibn Abi Talib over the others. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who chose Ali ibn Abi Talib in numerous verses in the Quran. In one verse, Allah says, إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ. Your wali is Allah and His Prophet, and from the mu'mineen. Who out of the mu'mineen? The one who performs salah, the one who gives zakat while performing salawat. And that was none other than Ali ibn Abi Talib, Amir al-Mu'mineen. In another verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prioritizes Amir al-Mu'mineen in the verse that I recited when I began. أَجَعَلْتُمْ سِقَايَةَ الْحَاجِ وَعِمَارَةَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ كَمَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. The tafsir of this verse. Before going into the tafsir, I need to tell you the matters in Mecca. In Mecca, there were two main families that used to serve the Hujjaj, that used to serve the pilgrims. There was one tribe by the name of Banu Shaybah. This tribe, their task, their duty was Sidanat al-Bayt. They used to take care of the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the custodians of the Kaaba, the custodians of Masjid al-Haram. They used to clean the masjid. They used to see all the needs of the masjid. That was something that they used to do. And this was something that they were very honored for. And the leader of that tribe was Talha ibn Shaybah. And the other task was carried out by Bani Hashim. Bani Hashim, their task was to provide water for the Hujjaj. They used to take water out of the wells and they used to make it drinkable. They used to bring it and deliver it to the pilgrims. They used to give it to the Hujjaj. So after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa conquered Mecca, one day Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib, who this was his task, Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet, he used to come and serve the Hujjaj, serve the pilgrims water. Abbas ibn Abdul Muttalib and Talha ibn Abi Shaybah, they were arguing with one another, who has a more honorable task? Whose task is more honorable? One says, mine, we are the custodians of the house of Allah. The other one, he says, we are the ones who serve the Hujjaj water. We are the one who give them water. And this is a more honorable task. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, he walks, he hears them arguing with one another. He tells them, none of you, it is me. I am the one who is the most honorable. They tell him, how? He tells them, if it was not for me, you both would have been mushrikeen. I am the one who brought you to the religion of Islam. I am the one, ضربت خراطيمكم بالسيف حتى قلت لا إله حتى قلتم لا إله إلا الله. I am the one, through with my sword, I brought you to the religion of Islam. Even Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet, he was captured in the battle of Badr. Even though he was a believer in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, but he was with the mushrikeen. And Talha ibn Shaybah, he was also one of the mushrikeen. So once Amir al-Mu'mineen said that, Al-Abbas, he became very upset. He's the uncle of Amir al-Mu'mineen and the uncle of Rasulullah. So he went to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He tells him, look what Ali ibn Abi Talib speaks, how he speaks to me. Of course, it's not good to brag. It's not good to be proud. But there are certain occasions where being proud, that is the duty. When your haqq is being taken away from you. This is why we sit every year and we remember Amir al-Mu'mineen. We remember the fada'il of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib. So Rasulullah, he called Ali ibn Abi Talib, he tells him, what did you do, O Ali ibn Abi Talib? What did you tell your uncle? He tells him, Ya Rasulullah, sadamtuhum bil-haq. I struck them with haqq. I told them the truth. And the truth, nothing can be above the truth. When you say the haqq, nothing can defeat the haqq. Amir al-Mu'mineen tells Rasulullah, I told them the truth. It was me who brought them to the religion of Islam. Amir al-Mu'mineen was the first supporter and helper of Rasulullah. He was the first believer in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Why are they arguing who's better, who is accepted by Allah? Where it was Amir al-Mu'mineen who was the first who sacrificed. Then Jibreel comes with a verse in the Quran. أَجَعَلْتُمْ سِقَايَةَ الْحَاجِ وَعِمَارَةَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ كَمَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَجَاهَدَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Do you make the one أَجَعَلْتُمْ سِقَايَةَ الْحَاجِ, the one who gives water to the Hujjaj, وَعِمَارَةَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ, and the one who is a custodian of Masjid al-Haram, at the same level as the one who believed in Allah? كَمَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَجَاهَدَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, the one who believed in Allah and in the last day, in the day of judgment, and the one who did jihad in the way of Allah, those are the same. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَا يَسْتَوُونَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. In the eyes of Allah, they're not the same. The one who has Iman, the one who performs jihad, the one who believes in Rasulullah, he is prioritized. So here we see that Allah prioritized Amir al-Mu'mineen over the other companions. It was Amir al-Mu'mineen who was the first to believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. The hadith says that the wahi came down upon Rasulullah on a Monday. Amir al-Mu'mineen believed in Rasulullah on Tuesday. And of course, this hadith, it may be questionable. Because when was a time that Amir al-Mu'mineen did not believe in Allah? When was a time that Amir al-Mu'mineen did not believe in Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi? Amir al-Mu'mineen, he's the only one who today all of the Muslims, when they mention the Sahaba, they say radiyallahu anhu. But when they say Amir al-Mu'mineen's name, they say karramallah wajha. Allah purified and honored his face, because his face was the only face out of the companions of Rasulullah who never did sujood to an idol. That was Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. Rasulullah, he tells Amir al-Mu'mineen, did you ask permission? Did you talk to your father before coming and submitting and believing in me? Amir al-Mu'mineen replies to Rasulullah, he tells him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not ask my father when he brought me to this life. And Allah does not need permission to be worshipped. I worship Allah al-Wahid al-Qahhar. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. The man who was chosen by Allah numerous occasions. Surah At-Tawbah. Surah At-Tawbah came down, the first 10 verses of Surah At-Tawbah. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, he wanted to send someone from Medina to Mecca to go and deliver the verses of the Quran, to deliver the ultimatum to the mushrikeen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the mushrikeen, they have 4 months. After 4 months, no mushrik is allowed to enter Mecca. No mushrik is allowed to enter Baytullah. This needs someone who is brave. This needs someone who is strong. So Abu Bakr, he went, he took the verses, and he went on his way to Mecca to deliver the verses. Then Jibreel comes to Rasulullah. He tells him, oh Rasulullah, this verse has to either be delivered by you or someone from you. Rasulullah, he calls Abu Bakr halfway through, he calls him back, he tells him, give the verses to Ali ibn Abi Talib. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes in front of the mushrikeen of Mecca, the one who he was responsible of killing many of the mushrikeen that fought Rasulullah. He went and he stood in the middle of Mecca, in between all of the mushrikeen, and he recited the first 10 verses of Surah Bara'ah, Surah At-Tawbah. This is the bravery of Amir al-Mu'mineen. This is the position of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And we see that Allah favored Amir al-Mu'mineen numerous times. Numerous verses in the Quran. عَمَّ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ النَّبَأِ الْعَظِيمِ الَّذِي هُمْ فِيهِ مُخْتَلِفُونَ. What is the Naba al-Azim? One of the narrations tell us that the Naba al-Azim is Ali ibn Abi Talib. الَّذِي هُمْ فِيهِ مُخْتَلِفُونَ. The one that they are in disagreement about. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He makes sure that He tells them who Ali ibn Abi Talib is. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, he became Amir al-Mu'mineen because of his sacrifice, because of his faith, because of his ikhlas, because of his justice, because of his devotion. No one matched Amir al-Mu'mineen in any of his qualities. When it came to the worship, هو البكاء في المحراب ليلا. He is the one who is crying in the mihrab in the middle of the night. And when it comes to the battle, هو الضحاك إذا اشتد الحراب. He is the one who is laughing in the battle when everyone else is crying, when everyone else is afraid. علي الدر والذهب المصفى وباقي الناس كلهم تراب. Ali is the gold, Ali is the dur, Ali is the silver, and everyone else is turab, everyone else is
Nare Haydari Ali.
Of course, Amir al-Mu'mineen, you see, one of the qualities of Amir al-Mu'mineen was that he was not changed by this life. This dunya, it changes people. You see someone, when they're poor, they act differently when they are rich. When they are powerful, they act differently when they are powerless. Amir al-Mu'mineen, nothing of his life changed. Nothing. One day, the Khilafah was taken away from him. They took it away through force. They left him in his house for 30 years. He did not change. His sacrifice for the religion of Islam did not change. He says, where will you find a leader that will say, لَأُسَالِمَنَّ مَا سَلِمَتْ أُمُورِ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. I will submit as long as the Muslims are in good shape, as long as the Muslims are healthy. This is why Amir al-Mu'mineen did not go after the political power. Otherwise, the Imam was always with him. And the day that the Khilafah came to him, they came begging him after the death of Uthman. They came running to him, begging him, pulling his shirt, begging him to take the leadership position. That day you see that Amir al-Mu'mineen, nothing changed. He goes in the mosque, he goes and he prays, he leads the prayer, he tells them that I will not change. I will not change my akhlaq, my attitude with anyone. He goes in Bayt al-Mal, the Muslim treasury. He sees the bags of the gold and the silver. And at that time, the Muslims were expanding and there was a lot of gold and silver entering. He goes, he looks at the bags of the gold and silver and he kicks them. And he says, Ya Safra, Ya Bayda, Ghurri Khayri. Oh yellow, oh silver, oh white, oh gold, oh silver, fool someone else. You cannot fool Ali ibn Abi Talib. In one hadith, he says, Wallah, لأبيت على حسك السعدان مسهدا أو أجر في الأغلال مصعدا أحب إلي من أن ألقى الله ورسوله وأنا ظالم لبعض العباد أو غاصب لشيء من الحطام. He says, I would rather be tied up and be dragged in the desert and all the thorns of the desert go in my body. I would rather have that happen to me than I take one grain of wheat, take it from a person in an oppressive way. Take it from a madloom, take it from someone who deserves it. And then he tells, this is in Nahj al-Balagha, and then he tells the Muslims what he did with his own family. When you want to see a just person, see how he treats his own family. Is he going to give his family and not give the others? Like, unfortunately, what we see many rulers today, and unfortunately many Shia rulers, like what we see in Iraq today. Shia rulers, in the name of Amir al-Mu'mineen, in the name of Imam al-Hussein, they came and they sat on the power, and now they're oppressing people. And you see in other places as well. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he tells the Muslims what he did with his own brother. He says, Wallahi laqad ra'aytu Aqil. I saw my brother Aqil. Aqil, the brother of Amir al-Mu'mineen, was blind. And he was poor. He didn't have much. But Aqil used to come and insist on Amir al-Mu'mineen to give him from the Bayt al-Mal, to give him more than what he deserved. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he would keep telling him, no, I could give you from myself. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, he himself did not have much. He used to eat 2 pieces of bread, and he had 2 outfits. This was Amir al-Mu'mineen. 1 outfit in the summer, 1 outfit in the winter. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, Aqil kept begging and begging. So one day I listened to him. He thought that I was going to sell him my religion. He thought that I was going to sell him my faith. Then I took a piece of metal and I heated it on the fire. I placed it on the fire and then I placed it next to Aqil, next to his skin. As soon as Aqil, he felt the heat of the fire, he began to yell, he began to scream. He tells Ali ibn Abi Talib, oh Ali, you want to burn me. You want to burn me. Amir al-Mu'mineen tells him, no, but you want to burn me in the hellfire. أتئن من نار أحماها إنسانها للعبه وتجرني إلى نار سجرها جبارها لغضبه أتئن من أذى ولا أئن من لظى. You cry from adha is a joke, but you don't want me to cry from ladha. Ladha is one of the names of the hellfire. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen. His daughter, one of his daughters, one day she goes and she borrows, she does not take, she borrows a gold necklace, some type of jewelry from Abu Rafi', the one who has the keys to Bayt al-Mal. She borrows it. It's probably the day of Eid, an occasion, she borrows it. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes and he sees her wearing that. He tells her, وَيْحَكِي أَتُرِيدِينَ أَنْ يَطُولَ وُقُوفِي بَيْنَ يَدَيِ اللَّهِ. You want me to be delayed on the Sirat on the day of judgment? Go and give it back. Not everyone has the opportunity to take like you. This is the justice of Amir al-Mu'mineen. A man who used to eat just like everyone else. Historians say that the only day that Amir al-Mu'mineen would eat meat was during the day of Eid. That was a day that he would make sure everyone had eaten. One of the narrators, he said one day in the month of Ramadan, I told Amir al-Mu'mineen, today I want to eat my iftar with you. Because this man had heard of Muawiyah and the dinner tables, the lunch tables of Muawiyah, where they used to bring many types of food. So he hears that this is the Khalifa, maybe he's also similar to Muawiyah. I want to taste the good food. He tells Amir al-Mu'mineen, I want to sit with you. Amir al-Mu'mineen tells him, sit with the Muslims. They're all eating in the masjid, they have food. He tells him, no, I want to eat with you. So Amir al-Mu'mineen tells him, you're welcome. He comes, he sits in the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Then Ali ibn Abi Talib, he takes a bag. It has a lock on it. He opens the lock, and then he gives this man 1 dry piece of bread. And Amir al-Mu'mineen, he takes 1 bread. The man says, I tried to eat the bread, I saw that I couldn't eat it. I had to break it with my knees. He said, I told Ali ibn Abi Talib, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, why are you hiding it? What's so significant about this piece of bread that you have it in a locked bag? He said, oh man, the reason I place it in a locked bag so that my sons, Hassan and Hussein, they do not come and put oil or honey on it to make it softer. This is Ali ibn Abi Talib. He wants to remember the poorest of the poor in his society. He wants to be with the poorest of the poor in society so that he is not living better than anyone else. He says in Nahj al-Balagha, وَلَوْ أُعْطِيتُ الْأَقَالِيمَ السَّبْعَةِ بما تحت أفلاكها على أن أعصي الله في نملة أسلبها جلب شعيرة ما فعلت. He says, if I was given the أقاليم السبعة, the 7 skies, and the solar system, and the universe, and everything that the sun sees, so that I oppress an ant, I take away one piece of grain from an ant, I would not do that. And then he says, وَإِنَّ دُنْيَاكُمْ عِنْدِي لَأَهْوَنْ مِنْ وَرَقَةٍ فِي فَمِ جَرَادَةٍ. He says, your dunya, for me, it's worth less than a piece of leaf that is in the mouth of a grasshopper. What's the value of that leaf that's in the mouth of a grasshopper? He said, your dunya, this is how it's worth for me. One day, after one of the battles, of course, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he had battles with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Then there was a 30-year break. 30 years, there was no battles. Then, as soon as the Khilafah came to him, you see that they began to conspire against him. Because they don't like the haqq. They cannot stand the justice. And this is why until today you see them conspiring against the Shi'as of Ali ibn Abi Talib. After 30 years, Ali ibn Abi Talib, now he's an older man, but he has to go into the battle once again. The first battle was the battle of Jamal. The hadith says that Malik al-Ashtar and a few of the companions, they told Ali ibn Abi Talib, you don't need to fight, you're an older man now. You don't need to fight, we will fight on your behalf. They thought that Amir al-Mu'mineen was not strong enough. He had lost his strength. The hadith says that Amir al-Mu'mineen, he went in the battle and there were hundreds of men and he was able to remove all of them. 30 years later, he goes back in the battle. Why? For the sake of Rasulullah. The first jihad was for the sake of the Quran, and the second jihad was also for the sake of the Quran. He said the first jihad was for the sake of the tanzeel, bringing down the Quran, and the second jihad was for the sake of the ta'wil, the analyzing and the tafsir of the Quran. And this is why you see groups of people fighting today in the name of the religion of Islam. That is because they do not understand the Quran. Someone understands the Quran, they will not fight. They will not kill like the way that we are seeing today. Amir al-Mu'mineen, after one of these battles, he is sitting in a tent, and the tribe leaders, they're coming to congratulate Ali ibn Abi Talib. They're all standing outside, waiting to congratulate him. So Ibn Abbas, he comes and he sees Amir al-Mu'mineen sitting on the ground in a tent, fixing his sandals. Taking his sandals and he's tying it, he's fixing it. Ibn Abbas, he tells Amir al-Mu'mineen, oh Ali ibn Abi Talib, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, there are hundreds of men outside, dignitaries waiting to congratulate you for your victory. You are sitting on the ground worried about a sandal? You're worried about your sandals? Then Amir al-Mu'mineen, he shows Ibn Abbas his sandal. He tells him, oh Ibn Abbas, do you see the sandal? How much value does it have? What is it worth? Ibn Abbas tells him, your sandal doesn't have any value. It doesn't have any value. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen tells them, your dunya is less than this na'al, it's less than this sandal for me. This khilafah, this leadership, it's worth less than this sandal for me, except for me to stand and for haqq and give the people their haqq. This is the only reason Amir al-Mu'mineen fought for the sake of khilafah. Otherwise, Amir al-Mu'mineen was not after power. And if he was after power, you would have seen that his life would have been different. But you see that his life did not change. Every night, he would go out carrying food, delivering to the orphans and the widows, delivering to the needy, the ones who do not have. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen. One day, one of the companions of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Qambar, he was the servant of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says, I used to follow Ali ibn Abi Talib. Amir al-Mu'mineen would tell him, I don't need a servant, I don't need someone to protect me. But Qambar, he was worried, and this is the wila of Qambar. A man who, his iman and his faith in Ali ibn Abi Talib brought him higher than many men who they have names. Many names who are probably called out many times today. But the servant of Amir al-Mu'mineen is worth more than all of those men. This man, Qambar, he says, I was with Ali ibn Abi Talib. I saw Ali ibn Abi Talib in the market. He is helping people. He sees a Christian man. He sees an old man on the ground begging. He says, "Ma hada, what is this?" He doesn't say, "Who is this man?" He doesn't say, "Why is this man begging?" He says, "What is this?" The phenomenon of seeing someone begging in the government of Ali was something strange for him. He says, "Ma hada, what is this?" Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was very careful. This is why the times that he did not eat, he says, وَلَعَلَّ فِي الْحِجَازِ أَوْ الْيَمَامَةِ, maybe in Hijaz or in Yemen or in other places, there is someone who is poor. But in Kufa, Amir al-Mu'mineen guarantees that there should be no poor person.
SubhanAllah, SubhanAllah.
He sees this poor man. He tells them, "What is this?" They tell him, "This is a Christian man who is old now and he doesn't have anyone to take care of him, anyone to protect him." Amir al-Mu'mineen, he tells them, "You made him work when he was young, and now that he's old, you left him out as a beggar in the street?" And then he placed him a salary from the Bayt al-Mal, giving this Christian man, this non-Muslim, a salary from the Bayt al-Mal. And another event, he's walking in the market, he sees a lady carrying a heavy container of water on her shoulders. So Amir al-Mu'mineen, he comes to her, he tells her, "Give me this, give me this." He sees a lady carrying something heavy, he wants to help her, and she doesn't know who he is. She doesn't know it's Ali ibn Abi Talib. He carries it, and then he goes, he follows her to the house, and Qambar is with him. He says he went to the house, she opened the door, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he heard the crying of the orphans. There were orphans in the house crying. He asked the lady, "Do you have anyone to take care of these kids? Do you have anyone to help you?" She said, "No, my husband was killed in one of the battles fighting for Ali ibn Abi Talib." So this Amir al-Mu'mineen, he left. Qambar says Amir al-Mu'mineen, he went and he began to buy. He began to buy wheat. He began to buy food, and then he goes. He knocks on the door once again. She says, "Who is this?" He tells her, "Ana Abdullah, I am Abdullah, the man that helped you." She opens the door. He tells her, "I have brought food for you and your children." She sees the man who she does not recognize. She says, "May Allah judge between me and Ali ibn Abi Talib because he left us like this." Amir al-Mu'mineen does not say anything. He goes in the house. He tells her, "Do you want me to cook the food or do you want me to be with the children?" She tells him, "I will cook the food, but start the fire, start the oven, the tannoor." So Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes and he starts the fire, and this lady all along, she does not know who he is. He starts the fire. Once the blaze is lit, he brings his body close to the fire and he says, "Dhuq ya Ali harran nar, فَهَذَا جَزَاءُ مَنْ نَسِيَ الْأَرَامِلَ وَالْأَيْتَامِ." "Oh Ali, feel the heat of the fire, because this is what happens to the one who forgets the widows and the orphans." She does not know who he is. Then she goes and she begins to cook. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he goes and he begins to play with the orphans. This is the Khalifa of Rasulullah. This is the man who is a leader of what is 50 countries today. He goes and he plays with these children. He gets on his knees, they come on his back, they play with him. And then once the food is ready, he comes, he takes the food and he places it in their mouth. He begins to feed them, and with every bite he tells them, "Say, Allahumma ighfir li Ali." "Oh Allah, forgive Ali ibn Abi Talib." All along, this lady does not know that this man is Amir al-Mu'mineen. And then a lady, she comes in and she sees that this is Ali ibn Abi Talib. A lady that recognized Amir al-Mu'mineen, she comes and she tells her, "What have you done? You have Ali ibn Abi Talib, the Khalifa of Rasulullah, serving you in your home." This is Amir al-Mu'mineen. My dear brothers and sisters, on a night like this, those orphans, those widows, those children that Amir al-Mu'mineen used to take care of, they felt orphaned once again because they lost their protector. They lost the one who used to feed them, the one who used to take care of them. They brought Amir al-Mu'mineen back in the house. Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein, they carried him. Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, take me to my home. Take me to my mihrab. They place Ali ibn Abi Talib in his mihrab. The poison had seeped through his body. They brought a doctor. They brought a doctor to come and check on Ali ibn Abi Talib, because Amir al-Mu'mineen was struck in the same place that Amr ibn Wad struck him. But this time, the sword of Ibn Muljim, he had bought 1,000 dirhams or 1,000 dinars worth of poison, and he had placed it in the poison. So the poison, it went and it started penetrating in the body of Amir al-Mu'mineen. The doctor, he tells Amir al-Mu'mineen, he tells them, bring him some milk. This is the only thing that may comfort him. They bring Ali ibn Abi Talib milk, and it is said that the orphans in Kufa, they gathered outside the home of Ali ibn Abi Talib, each one carrying a bowl of milk for their imam, for their leader. Amir al-Mu'mineen, they bring him the milk. Before he drinks, he tells them, have you given your prisoner milk? Referring to Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim. This is the justice of Ali, where he refuses to drink milk until Abdul Rahman ibn Muljim, the man who struck him, he gets to drink. Amir al-Mu'mineen was sitting with his family. They were gathered around him. Imam al-Hassan, Imam al-Hussein, Sayyida Zainab, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya, Ibn Fadl al-Abbas. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen, he began to tell everyone what will happen to them. He tells Imam al-Hassan, oh my dear son, you will be poisoned. And then he looks at Imam al-Hussein and he says, La yawmaka yawmaka ya Aba Abdullah. Oh Aba Abdullah, you cry for me, but I cry for what will happen to you. And then he looks at Al-Abbas. He tells him, oh Abbas, do not have shortcomings with your brother Hussein. And then he looks at Zainab. He tells her, oh Zainab, I see you crying now, but there will be a day that will be much more severe for you. That is the day that you will stand over the body of Aba Abdullah. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.